Hey everyone, it's Nicole and I'm doing this video a lot earlier than I thought I was going to be just because I didn't think I would have any time, but I found a spare moment and I think it's only fair that I do this video sooner rather than later because my last video was a bit unclear to some people. So the last vlog I showed you my first ultrasound and it showed a total of approximately 27 measurable follicles and lots and lots of little ones, and my E2 levels, and E2 stands for estrogen if anyone doesn't know that, were 8,258. They weren't too, that's quite high, but it's not, they weren't too concerned yet, but they were just like, it's heading in a bad direction, but we're just going to keep going and see how we go. So this was on Wednesday, I can't even remember the date, but it was Wednesday, so I had my blood test and scan. So from that blood test and scan, they said that they're going to trigger me with buserelin instead of the HCG trigger injection, because when you get ovarian, the reason this is all bad is because I've had ovarian hyperstimulation before and it was heading that way again. So they decided that they would trigger me with buserelin instead of the HCG trigger injection because the HCG is what can make the OHSS worse. So they said, buserelin's got no HCG in it and that will hopefully help reduce the risk of you getting sick. At that stage they decided that egg collection would be on Sunday instead of Monday the 27th, and that it was most likely going to be a freeze-all cycle. And I was okay with that. I was a bit gutted because I was like, I've never had a fresh embryo transfer before. So I was a bit gutted that it was heading the same way again, where I was going to have to freeze all my embryos. Roman was a frozen embryo, and Pancake, who we miscarried, was also a frozen embryo. So I've never had a fresh transfer at all, and I was really hoping for it this time, but it just wasn't going to happen. So that was all good, and I had my hopes high, and I was just like, it's okay, we're gonna have a freeze-all, it's gonna be all right. And then I had another blood test and scan on the Friday, I think, must have been Friday, and that showed 5 really good follicles in my left ovary with 6 ones coming really close, and then 12 really good sized follicles in my right ovary with 21 coming really close. So you can all do the maths, but so it showed anywhere between 17 and 19 really good follicles that were perfect for egg collection, and a whole bunch of little ones. So the numbers kind of did change between the two ultrasounds. Now, although the follicles seemed to decrease, the number of follicles seemed to decrease, my estrogen did not. My estrogen went up to 15,869. They weren't pleased with that at all. They were like, this is getting really dangerous. It is definitely 100% going to be a freeze-all cycle. You're going to trigger on Sunday, and we're going to trigger either Sunday, Monday, or pick up Monday, Tuesday, and I am to stop all drugs. So I stopped all my drugs. I kept taking the orgalutran to stop myself from ovulating early, and I had to start drinking 2 litres of water a day, which to some people seems normal, but for me, I don't drink anything really. It's really hard for me to drink. I just struggle to drink water. But I did it. I went and brought Gatorade, I went and brought Powerade, which is kind of like Gatorade but just the one in my country, and yeah, so what they said is that in my case they were going to do a freeze-all no matter what, just because I've had OHSS before, but they said if you get 20 plus eggs it's a freeze-all, and if you get less than 20 eggs the nurses will ring you every day to see how you're feeling, and that will decide whether or not you have a fresh embryo transfer. But with me they were just like, nope, not with that estrogen level. So that was kind of all well and good, you know. It was it was still not going very well, but at that stage egg collection was still going to happen. Yeah. Then they decided that they wanted me to have a blood test and an ultrasound on the Sunday. The Sunday was the day that I was meant to have egg collection. So we travelled all the way to the clinic, which was 2 hours away, to have this blood test and ultrasound. Yeah, and that was really early in the morning, so we had to hang around all day just waiting for these results. And the ultrasound showed lots of really good sized follicles, you know, just like I've been telling you with all the other ultrasounds. There were at least 8 that were at 2 centimeter follicles, which are really mature. They're like perfect, they're ready to go. And after that he kind of just stopped counting. He was like, there's just so many, I'm gonna stop counting. Yeah. So I was getting a bit worried, and from that appointment with my doctor, he said that there are 3 options. That there were 3 options depending on the blood test results. So the first is that the blood test results come back at that they are slowly coming down, the estrogen levels slowly coming down, because what they did is they made me coast, which means taking no drugs but just waiting and seeing those estrogen levels come down. And if they saw them starting to come down, they'd be happy to keep coasting and wait till my estrogen levels got down to 10,000. And you can coast for up to 7 days apparently without your eggs getting over mature and pretty yucky. At that stage I was on day 4 of coasting, I think. Yeah, and so he said we can, you know, if they look like they're coming down, we will coast you still and just wait till they come down to 10,000. If the levels have gone up, the cycle will be cancelled, and if the levels are at 10,000 or below, we will go ahead with egg collection. And I was like, yep, that's cool, and I was totally expecting them to slowly be down and that I would have egg collection in a few days. Well, at about 2 o'clock that afternoon, we were heading to a cafe to have a late lunch, and I got the phone call. And she said, I'm really sorry. And as soon as she said that, I knew it was over. And she said that my estrogen levels had increased to over 20,000, over 25,000, and that is extremely high. And she said that there is no way that they can go ahead with egg collection because I would just end up in hospital with drainage tubes coming out of my lungs and my stomach, or my abdomen I should say, not my stomach. And I didn't cry, I didn't really say anything. I just let her talk, and I was just listening to her instructions. And it was a really disappointing, sad day for both me and Martin. I was trying so hard not to cry, and I didn't cry. I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna be okay, I'm gonna be okay, I'm gonna be okay. I just had to keep going over and over in my head. And she said, I'm so sorry, but we just have to cancel. It's far too dangerous. You will 100%, you know, you're gonna get sick if we do egg collection. My heart just kind of exploded and then sank pretty much, and I just thought, all those injections, all that money is just down the drain, and it has just made my infertility journey that much harder. And never in a million years did I think that this would happen. Never. But yeah, so I got off the phone and Martin goes, that sounds like good news, I heard 3,000 or something. And I was like, I shook my head at him and just said, it's over. And he was like, what do you mean it's over? And I was like, my levels went over to over 25,000. And so we both were kind of really silent. My brother-in-law was driving, and at that point I really just wanted to go home. I just wanted to go home and cry and cry and cry and cry. but we had one of Martin's friends in the car and Martin's brother in the car, and we were all going to a cafe. So Martin hid behind a smile and carried on, whereas I couldn't look anyone in the eye. I could barely eat. All I wanted to do was cry, but I held it in, and I held myself together because we had people with us. It was just as bad, if not worse, than getting told that your blood test is a BFN. I felt defeated. I felt like the world was coming to an end. I felt like my life was over. I felt like I actually kind of, in a way, I didn't cry or do anything like that, but emotionally I think I felt like this was worse than when I had my miscarriage. I don't know why, but that's just how it was. To spend all that money and go through all those injections and have your cycle cancelled right before egg collection is really, really hard. And emotionally, Sunday sucked. Yeah, so we only get about $6,000 back, which means if we want to do IVF again, we are about $3,000 to $4,000 short, which breaks my heart. But yeah, no one ever said that this journey would be easy. No one said it would all be laughs and fun, but that's just the way it is. At this stage the future is very unclear. I don't know what we're going to do. I really don't. This is the second time we've done IVF twice, and both times I've overstimulated, and both times I've been on the lowest dose. But I don't know what to do. I really do not know what to do. I don't want my journey to be over because I want another baby. Money doesn't grow in trees, and IVF is not free when you've already had a free cycle. So I guess now the only thing stopping us from trying again is finances. And I never ever thought we would be in this position. Never. But what can you do, you know, like, yeah. I know our journey's not over yet. I definitely want another baby, and we will get that baby. I know we will. It's just, obviously, this journey is going to be a lot harder than the first journey we had, which seemed hard at the time, but in hindsight it wasn't that bad compared to what it is now. But yeah, don't worry about me. I'm fine, and Martin is fine, and so there's not much else I can say. I really hope you continue to follow our journey. You said our journey might be years away, it might be months away, it may be never. I hope not, but for now there will be no more TTC diaries as far as I know, because I'm not ovulating on my own, and we seem to have unexplained infertility as well as ovulatory problems, so I think the chances of us getting pregnant naturally are just about at zero. And yeah, and we don't have the money right now to do IVF again, so our journey to baby number 2 right now is kind of at a standstill, and I don't know how long that will be for. But we're still here, and I will still be vlogging, and hopefully hopefully we can come up with something soon. Okay guys, I think I covered everything. I'm really not too sure, but that's the best I can do for now. Okay you guys, thanks so much for watching.